Don Moen is a famous and influential figure in Christian praise music. He was born on June 29, 1950 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His life's work is a collection of songs that have profoundly impacted Christianity through his writing, composing, and performing. Over the course of his career, Don Moen has become widely recognized as the embodiment of heartfelt devotion. Millions of people around the globe still sing his songs. Because he was brought up in a Christian home, Don first heard music when he was very little. He started playing the piano at the tender age of 6, thanks to his parents' encouragement that he follow his heart and follow his musical dreams. His musical ability was obvious at a young age, and he had a particular interest in worship music. It was clear early on in Don's life that music would play a major part when he began playing and singing in his church as a child. Don continued his education at Oral Roberts University, a music school in Tulsa, Oklahoma, after finishing high school. He experienced a deepening of his relationship with God and a growing sense of calling to use his musical talents for the ministry at this time. He became a leading figure in the praise music scene after finishing college and landing a job at the prestigious Christian record label Integrity Music. Many of the songs he wrote and produced for Integrity Music have become staples in modern worship because of his position there. Don Moen composed one of his early and most popular hits, "God Will Make a Way," while he was going through a tough time in his own life. Over the years, the song became a source of encouragement and inspiration for countless believers. "God Will Make a Way" was a watershed moment in Don's career. It showcased his compositional prowess and his growing leadership skills as a worship leader. The song's message of trusting in God and having faith in Him really resonated with listeners, and it quickly became a favorite in churches worldwide. Thanks to the influence of this accomplishment, Don Moen was able to launch a string of critically acclaimed albums and worship initiatives that cemented his place in the Christian music industry. Over the course of the 1990s and into the 2000s, Don's influence progressively grew. "Give Thanks, Praise, a Celebration," and "Hearing the Angels Sing" were among of his most beloved albums, and they helped to redefine the style and sound of modern praise music. He achieved fame in the Christian music industry as a result of his soothing voice and his talent for writing simple yet impactful praise songs. He is often considered a trailblazer in the modern praise and worship movement, which prioritizes growing in intimacy with God through music. Countless incredibly talented musicians and artists have worked with Don Moen during his career. Michael W. Smith, Tommy Walker, and Israel Houghton are among these people. His partnerships with these artists have only served to solidify his reputation as a leader in the worship music scene. Along with this, he is famous for his leadership and his time spent writing and producing music for Integrity Music. He has been asked to perform live worship services in churches all around the globe due to his gift for leading worship, and thousands of people have joined together to show their deepest appreciation. Don Moen's true calling, beyond his work as a musician and songwriter, is to minister to Christians all around the globe. He has played music for people all over the globe and has toured extensively throughout his career. Not only that, but his music has been rendered into numerous tongues. He has worked with several different ministries throughout his career, using his fame to raise awareness and money for many different charities, especially those that help low-income families and children. Don Moen's lyrics reveal his deep devotion to the ministry he is now leading, as they demonstrate his love for God and his desire for others to feel God's presence in worship. His hymn unites people of all faiths and cultures in worship of the one true God, who is not limited by either. What Don wants to say is simple. True worship takes place when a person's heart is filled with reverence and humility toward God, not when the music is perfect or when the venue is perfect. Beyond his musical accomplishments, Don Moen is also the author of several books, such as Worship with Don Moen and the Don Moen Worship Collection. The authors of these works set out to create inspirational and educational materials for worship leaders, musicians, and anybody else interested in learning more about worship. His thoughts and teachings on worship have inspired worshipers all around the globe to grow spiritually through song. The recognition and success that Don Moen has enjoyed during his career have not eroded his humility or his commitment to his work. On many occasions, he has spoken about his desire to use his music to benefit others and bring honor to God. His hope, as he has said in multiple interviews, is that his work might help others form a personal relationship with God. He stresses time and again that worship isn't about putting the spotlight on the artist or the song, but about drawing people closer to God and facilitating their connection with Him. Don Moen's life and work highlight the transformative power of music and worship in drawing people closer to God. The impact of his music on Christians around the world is immeasurable, and his contributions to the faith are incalculable. Through his music, leadership, and ministry, Don Moen has made an indelible mark on the worship world. Generations of Christians who have come before them have looked to him as an inspiration for how to praise God musically. However, just like everyone else's adventures, Don's have been accompanied by periods of immense misery and difficulty. Unexpectedly, one of the most devastating and transformative events of his life had a profound impact on both his personal and professional life. Tragically, Don Moen had to deal with an incomprehensible loss in the early 2000s, just as his career was taking off. A grave sickness struck his beloved wife Laura, with whom he had created a life of faith and love. He had built their existence as a couple. When they heard the news, everyone in the family was shocked. Laura had been Don's rock throughout their relationship, but she began showing signs of a severe deterioration in her health, and the doctors confirmed the dreadful prognosis. Don had always had an overwhelming sense of attachment to his wife and children, making the thought of losing them very unbearable. They were a married couple who had raised children, seen the globe, and helped countless people via their music and ministry over the course of many years. As Don faced the challenges of his public life, he found strength in Laura's unwavering support. Which she had been at his side through all the ups and downs of his career. Don never thought he'd have to face the fact that he might lose her. That he would be confronted with it was completely unexpected. As Laura's health declined further, Don had no choice but to find a way to combine his work and home lives. While trying to be there for his family, Don also felt pressured to meet the high standards set by his employer. Even though his music and ministry brought solace to many, he had to work hard to meet their needs. He often spoke about how his music helped him during this difficult period by bringing him solace and reminding him of his strong faith, which had always been his strength. Although it was a time of great loss and reflection, it was also a time of life. Don was unable to cope with the emotional toll that his wife's illness kept taking on him, even though he continued to help others through his music. After a long battle with illness, Laura passed away, despite his best efforts. Despite his best attempts, she died during the long and difficult voyage. Her death was the most terrible loss Don had ever experienced, and he felt an immense void in his life afterward. They had a terrible time accepting the loss of their life and ministry partner, and the anguish he carried with him was immense. After Laura passed away, Don felt cut off from all that had once been comfortable to him. After Laura passed away, he felt cut off from everything, even though he had always thought that music could heal and bring people closer to God. He felt disconnected from the music that had driven him before, and the lyrics he had sang so often seemed to repeat in his head like a hollow reverberation. Don found solace in the love and encouragement of his loved ones, who stood by him through thick and thin. His children, who had supported him professionally, gathered around him and gave him words of encouragement and affection. God remained a beacon for Don, even though the pain of loss had diminished his faith in him. He found comfort in prayer, and as time passed, he realized that God was present in his trials, even if he could never replace the love and friendship he had with Laura. One of the most life-altering aspects of Don's recovery was the abundance of support he received from his loved ones, Those people were there for him when he needed them most. They understood, they listened, and they highlighted the importance of community during his darkest hours. In time, the music he had long utilized to share God's love with others became a means by which he healed himself. However difficult it was at times, composing new songs helped Don cope with his loss and find ways to express his pain while still honoring the love he had with his wife. Through his music, he found a way to provide comfort and hope to those who were suffering the most, and he realized that his grief might connect with those going through grieving. Although Don's suffering did ease somewhat with the passing of time, he still carried Laura's memory with him every day. Her impact on his life was profound, and he sought out ways to pay tribute to her by focusing on his work and ministry. From the depths of his heart, he bore her legacy. Don found a way to endure the pain and let it change him, which strengthened his faith and deepened his comprehension of mortality. The pain never went away entirely, but Don found a way to stay alive through it. Don Moen is still well known today for many reasons, including his lovely worship songs and the incredible perseverance he showed in the face of personal tragedy. Though it begins with horrific tragedy, the story ultimately ends with a message of healing, optimism, and the immense power of family and faith. He talks on how the most important thing he learned from his loss was the importance of sharing the good times and the bad with the people closest to you. He learned the hard way after losing Laura that it's not possible to find peace by trying to hide or deny your pain, but by facing it head on with the love and support of those closest to you and the constant presence of God. As part of his continuous labor, Don keeps sharing his faith, life story, and music with the globe. He gets requested to speak at conferences and other gatherings all the time to help others who are going through tough times. In order to help and inspire others, he draws on his own experiences. Grief and loss, in his view, are natural parts of living, but they do not characterize us. What has the power to transform our sorrow into something beautiful and meaningful is how we opt to respond to those losses with love, faith, and the support of others. Don Moen has discovered solace and direction in his ministry and the love of his family, and he has learned to cope with the loss of his dear wife. Even though he will never fully recover from the loss of his wife, he has found a way to live with the grief. His story is a powerful symbol that we are not alone in our suffering, which is especially comforting when we are at our lowest points. We can discover the fortitude to move forward with the love and support of our loved ones and the healing power of our... Thank you very much for tuning in. Your help is greatly appreciated. If this video was fun for you, please hit the like button and add a comment. Your thoughts on this are much anticipated. Watch this video and have fun.